And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Refresh Point. My name is Benjamin Nguyen, and tonight I am joined by my illustrious co-host, Stephen Lafollette. Stephen, how's it going?
It's going great. It's that time of year, Ben. It's the time of the holidays where the work is officially wrapped, at least for me, and time to enter into some very much needed vacation time, and we can catch up with some Weiss Schwarz.
Yeah, and before we head off on to vacation tonight, we'll be having our first ever edition of the Refresh Point Awards. Woo! I edited in some extra applause. Appreciate it. We'll be giving out awards to decks, players, sets, cards of all things that all deserve to be highlighted in one way or another. And so shuffle your decks, tap or cut, and we'll get right into the Refresh Point Awards after a short amount of breaking news. BCS! Woo! It's kind of funny that we did this episode immediately after one of the larger BCS rounds of the year so far. Three BCSs in a row. It's Philly, Australia, Philippines, not in that order. As it turns out, Slime still pretty good.
We also, there are two others in there that you neglected to mention, which is Mexico and Portugal.
True.
So
that's how big it was.
A massive, yeah. They Bushiroad really tightened the timeline at certain points here, where they were like, "Holy crap, we can't schedule any during the holidays. Let's put 5 in the same week." And it's like, all right, you're spitting, I guess. But
shoutouts to the winner of Melbourne, who is a review homie who won with STS, but who immediately after winning, or close to it, messaged me and asked for what the review list was so he could play test it.
I'm gonna be so real with you right now. That's the fakest fan there is. I don't know what to say. I'm saying it. You're either a fan or you're not, and if you're not, that's okay. It's okay. Just say you wanted to win the event. It's fine. That's fine. But the real fans, they send that shit directly into the regional. They don't think about, but the meta. No. Either just I don't know what to say, man.
It was extremely
Congrats on your win, I guess is what I should say. See you at Worlds, buddy.
Oh my god. Yeah. Australia, fairly standard top 8s. Portugal, Slime won. Wow. Also, fairly standard top 8. Funny Poochie Dio list included. With the anti-name combo, I believe, in the middle.
Yeah, also, Portugal had a Guilty Gear in second, and not the build that you would think. A standby Ram build. I think that, for the most part, the Guilty Gear merchants have decided that Eno is the direction to cast, mostly due to the fact that Avis just keeps pounding everyone with it. But, yeah, we got a little 6 standby 2 bar
Jacko Bikin Ramlethal action.
Yeah.
To mix it up with our 4 Slimes in top 8 and a Miko Sora and an Overlord. Which, honestly, it's incredibly funny that with 4 Slimes in the top 8, there's also an Overlord and a Miko Sora deck in there.
It's wild.
But at the same time, I guess that's why the Slimes placed higher. Smile. I don't know.
I think, going back briefly to Melbourne, I think that's the best finish Overlords had all season.
True. Second. That's actually true.
Second.
Yeah.
So continues
in a shorter tournament where you cannot get fucked over by variants as hard as a long day.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, absolutely.
You know,
if we have a 50-person tournament, it suddenly becomes the best deck to get top 4 with.
Fair enough. Spy Pants Choice winning the Philippines. Kaguya 5 standby 3 door. We had all sorts of things going on in the Philippines, but as we've previously touched on this podcast, the ability to buy cards in the Philippines is not the best.
Yeah, I think they also they have set restrictions as well. Like some sets are just either illegal there or like they're not part of the legal set distribution because of rights or whatever. But so that's why you always have a refreshing sort of top 8 when you look at the Philippines, because you see a whole bunch of stuff. This is our first top 8 for Bang Dream.
It's definitely kind of like this is a lot of the stuff where we're like, if all of the best decks were restricted right now, what would it look like? And you look at Philippines top 8 and you're like, huh.
That.
Actually.
It would look like that.
It would look a little bit like that. Yeah.
So, good news, So Spy is only like a scant 5 or 6 decks away from being a winning deck. So that's good.
That's good. Mexico City, big tournament, Slime wins. Wow, that's crazy. We have another one.
It's my it is like a very nice version of that build too. It's the Milim deck, right?
The Milim deck. Yeah,
so,
sure.
For harassing your opponents into the dirt. And to be honest, if you look at the rest of the top 8, that's a really solid deck to be carrying into this top 8. Like, I see Himeno Aki, which is definitely not going to be a fan of doing that. Itsuki, which is absolutely not going to be a fan of doing that.
Frieren loves Fern.
Yeah,
you know?
The problem with the Itsuki deck is that you immediately lose your hand size cards and your waiting room situation sucks. So good luck with that.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have STS and Spy, 2 decks that are really also back row reliant. So yeah, that's a nice meta call.
Yeah. Rest of the top 8, as it turns out, lots of Frieren coming in hot. To the Mexico event.
This is not
fistful of different finishers, both the booster pack and the booster finisher and the trial deck finisher showing up. And there's an unknown Azure Lane list, which funny. One shot him. I'm pretty sure that's the SS list.
Yeah.
And a Dow 8-buy in the Year of Our Lord 2024. God bless.
It's always good players. It's not good decks.
What a gamer.
Yeah, congratulations.
Is it actually? Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. Yeah. And there's the 2 Kurumis
there's
right
almost
there.
no different cards. There's not even meta cards. There's no meta calls. It's pretty much the exact same deck. And it's like,
there's actually less combos. I think.
Yeah.
Because like previously, even like, did the 8 standby always run just like full empty leading up to the finisher? I feel like there was a world where you played, I don't know, some of it, but I guess not.
Yeah, they're running the promo from the from a Springfest couple years ago at this point as like the most of their level 1 game. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's I forgot that this is a promo.
Yep.
God bless.
If you're interested, comment in the
Great
comments.
interest Kurumi. I think I have that in a binder somewhere. Man.
I definitely have the promo version of it. If you're looking to make this deck, drop my name in the comments. We can figure it out. You know, Christmas is right around the corner.
And and to wrap ourselves up here, Philadelphia. I went as well. It's always good to see everybody. Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for once again proving that I cannot go to a single regional without being recognized by my laugh alone.
Yeah.
Just purely that.
Of all the Weiss content creators, you have the most iconic laugh. That's just facts.
I guess. And congratulations to Carter. Fucking Carter, who we literally sat down with at Cave Barbecue, not even like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
After
Houston. After celebrating Andrew's 3rd place and whatnot. He's the only Cali player who went, and he won!
And just when you thought...
With 4 blank pants into Muron.
And just when you thought you hadn't seen... You already knew that every combination of TSK that could exist, we found a new one. there's a new one now. It's called Fuck Level 1. And how it works is you just don't do anything at level 1. You put
Three
down...
rules, dude.
Yeah.
We love 3 rules. Every other turn, pay 1 salvage.
Yeah.
And then you get camera, and then sometimes with the camera, it's pay 1 salvage on turn. Like,
It's
I don't
honestly,
know.
it's 4 clock encore guys and praying heavily until we get to Miran. But
And
it works.
as it turns
That's
out-
the worst part.
We already knew it worked, Steve. I got top 8 last year with the 2 soul.
Right, yeah.
I didn't even have fucking like 3 rules in my list.
No.
That shit would have been gas, actually.
Yeah. No. This is the more reasonable version of sending it without sending it.
No, it's incredibly reasonable.
Yeah.
That guy, we will be airing a post-tournament win interview with him in a short moment. But this guy fucking healed with potions 6 times in a single game.
It's crazy.
Which, like, what do you do?
Lose. That's what you do. Lose.
That's what you do. Because if you look at the list, and he talks about it on the interview, and spoilers, we might have him on the podcast later next year. But he basically, there's no Xion because the game plan is to block them down and heal.
Yeah.
And
you're just trying to tank them. Yeah.
And because Shuna, early play healer, not amazing. Doesn't say Muron on it. Turns out we just jammed the ever-living fuck out of potions.
Yeah.
And it turns out tap pay 2 to heal is pretty good. Pretty good.
I mean, it's basically the exact same cost that you would pay normally, only you don't have to disrupt your combo board and you can just keep on trucking. So it just works. It just works. And the Muron shell with the slime finish and the 0 game, it always looks the same. It looks the same every single time. There are 35 cards that are exactly the same in all these slime decks. It's the same shell, and there's literally, we are just sending it on the configurations. There's nothing I won't believe will work. There's nothing. You could play almost anything, in my opinion, with this shell, and it will just work. Because you're going to get to level 2 in a whatever state, play triple Muron, and then the game's going to be just fine. You will have the resources to do whatever, and then you'll kill them. It's just how the deck plays. It has nothing to do with the early game, and it never did. It was always solid 0 game, question marks, Muron, kill them. Like, every single time. It's just how it is. And so, yeah.
And I think the funny thing is the adaptation is coming in that the slime players have started doing math. And turns out most people just don't beat a board of 10-5s either. And also, if we just add in this little guy that gives 500 to the rest of the board, turns out most people don't even beat a board of 11Ks. And so Shuna becomes like just make sure, is there counterplay over there? Now we get Shuna. Every other game, we're like, pay 1 salvage every other turn, pay 2 tap down heal, you know, all these other back rows.
Yeah, and the reality is that unless you're playing like OSK or some kind of other deck that has a level 2 plan, it is likely that your opponent may be able to reverse 1 Muron if you let them, but it is unlikely that they will field a board that can reverse 3 Murons. That's just not gonna happen. And
so we've started, like, the time has gone on. We haven't even gotten the Shuna ban, but we've kind of realized, like, it kind of doesn't matter, you know?
No.
As it turns out, you can't answer 2 Murons for the most part anyway.
Yeah.
If you're a normal human being.
Yeah, and we're going to be adding some more sets into the meta that will be better at dealing with TSK minus Shuna. P3 can fight it pretty well on the board, and so can Macross. So
can Macross?
Yeah, I think they have tools for that, right?
I mean, there's
2-0 changer or whatever.
Well, the 2-0 only gets up to, I think, like 10k.
Well, that's really awkward.
I think it depends. There are some power pumping mechanics in there.
Yeah.
And quick aside as well, man. I finally got to experience Macross. I got my hands on my copy of the deck. Wow, I understand. That's That's such a high roll.
It's
if you whiff the setup, you're just like, oh fuck, I guess I'm dead, and then you die. It's pretty straightforward, honestly.
I don't think it's that much high roll. I think it's medium roll, but
Yeah, it's medium roll.
it's one of those
medium
things
roll.
we can definitely talk about in the spy corner. But suffice it to say, I like that deck a lot because I like decks that take a unique approach to the game. It takes an extremely unique approach to the game. To round out the rest of your top 16, that somebody did it, man. Somebody got to it before me. We have a top 8.
You're such a fucking rat. You could have played Master of the Elements in Houston.
We have a top 8 for
And
Master of the
instead,
Elements.
fucking Iron City Games, Anthony beat you to the punch.
What a guy.
He
my
was
goat.
like-
My goat.
He was like, nah, I don't want to play Sins. I'm just going to play something fun. And he got top 8. Look at that.
Carmen...
Which, congrats, but also, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
You could have done that.
Carmen famously remarked that the deck is horrible. So, you know, it is what it is. But I did inspect the build. It does look significantly different from mine.
Oh, okay.
The general core...
Let's get the
general
let's get
core
the tech going.
ideas are the same, but...
You also say the spy corner. This is the mini spy corner.
Yeah.
We're doing this, and then we're doing the awards. That's our life today.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I like a lot of what's here. The problem is that there's a few things that I don't like, but those are the core game plan is similar. You know, we've got Aang and we've got Toph at the level 1 game. His level 0 game looks dramatically different from mine. A lot more blue cards than I'm running, or maybe not a lot more, but more and different. A lot of the counts are similar. It's just the choices that were made that are a bit different. So less yellow of the 2-1. He opted into the check X, which is completely fine. And if you've played this deck enough, you've certainly felt that like pain point where you can't get to the choice climax in the late game, which sucks. He has a lot more of the 1-0 Suki Kiyoshi Warrior. I think I'm down to like one of those maybe. I decided to play more of the 2-1. But only one stock swap, and then he's got the Katari Healer, which I'm not a tremendous fan of, but I guess it's fine. And then the Sokka Beater, which is, again, completely fine. Like, it's a fine card. So, overall, I think the game plan's very similar in execution. The counts are really similar. Usually, if you're trying to play Master of the Elements and you want to try and build your own build at home, the way that it seems to work the best is have 2 primary colors and 2 secondary colors. You have your primaries in high count and your secondaries in low count. That way, you can easily figure out what your deck looks like by counting the low colored cards and then shuffling back usually the low count cards to get a more, sort of even profile of what your deck is.
Yeah. And speaking on Philadelphia, it's clear that in terms of actually trying to compete, I should not have gone to this tournament. I'm cooked. I'm tired as hell. I'm ready for this vacation. And when we got to Philly, that shit was no good. Rounds 1 and 2, we got like some clutch plays, some scams going on, some alright stuff. I get a little bit scammed round 3, just die right off the rip to 3 vanilla swings from Overlord, go from 2-4 to 3-6 in short fashion, find all 6 climaxes in the bottom of the deck. I'm like, that's the life. And it never recovered. Like, the rest of the day was like both some of the worst luck and like I'm like slow motion watching myself misplay. It's like it's the kind of times when you're playing too much and you'll like make a play and you'll like see the consequences of it happen real time. You're like, fuck, that was the worst possible thing I could have done in that scenario.
Yeah.
And I can't take that back.
Yeah. It sucks when you become aware of it while the consequences are occurring instead of becoming aware of it prior to making the play. It happens a lot. When I play on the simulator, it happens way too much. Where I'm just like, of all the things I could have done to not be in the worst position imaginable, this ain't it. This ain't it.
Yeah, exactly. Although the funny thing though is, I think for the first time this season, I think I'm good with this 50. This Review 50, I'ma send it.
Yeah, I think it's great deck. Not being ironic in any way, I never win. I never win.
Okay.
I think Ben's win rate in the for this season has got to be like 90% against me or something. I feel like I just never win.
It is incredibly funny how much
the game's fine. The game's fine. Burn one, burn two, burn one, burn two, burn one, burn two, burn one. And you just die. You just die. I don't understand how it works. I don't pretend to know, but it never feels like the deck uses any stock. He's got like 10 stock every fucking game, and I just whatever. It's fine. It's a mid-tier deck. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a mid-tier deck.
Yeah, of course. Why would I lose to it?
Yeah,
every time.
Doesn't win
with
that
everything.
Often. Yeah,
forever.
Yeah.
In any case, rounding out the top 8 in Philly. This is a big tournament.
198 players.
Second biggest of the year, if I recall. Houston's 199.
Wait, really?
Yep, we got him with the $1 move.
That's hilarious. But also, massive tournament, great venue.
Yeah,
Philadelphia Convention Center, great venue. Across the street, Reading Terminal Market, just a massive indoor market of basically food stalls and like a few other stalls, but food stalls, man. Oh, so many. It looked so good, dude. I had a cheese boat, dude. That cheese boat slapped. All right. Complete tangent. Cheese boat, amazing. They have in-house home-baked sourdough. They carve out a little circle in the middle. Their own homemade cheese mix. It's like I don't even remember what the cheese mix was.
Yeah.
It was like a goopy, kind of thing.
Liquid.
Yeah. That, and then you choose one of the bowls, you get some toppings. I got the mushroom one. Fire. Amazing. Incredible. Yeah, dude.
I know a lot of people in that region now, so I think during the next season, whenever it is, and I can't stress this enough, I have no idea what's going to happen after Worlds to the competitive season, because
it's like the
timing is kind of bad. So I don't know if Springfest is going to start before Worlds. I don't know. But
well, no, because I mean, again, it's like this year we're already having singles tournaments when last year's Springfest tournaments were. Right?
Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I assume there'll be 2 tournament cycles. I don't know what they're going to be.
Maybe there's just like a summer break season.
Maybe it's going to be a summer thing. I don't know. But what I do know is that there's a lot of great people in that part of the country. I've never been to a regional anywhere nearby. It feels like I should. I keep going to the same regionals over and over again, but maybe I need to get out there and experience some of these other cities. And
you need to go with me so we can go on the Northeastern Pizza Tour.
We absolutely that's happening. That's not even an option. That's a mandatory requirement at this point. So yeah, Rochester, whatever New York tournament, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You tell them I'll be there.
All right.
But your top 8 is very meta. It's 1,000 slime decks, and then one
half slime, half everything else, and the everything else is 2 Freerins, one SDS, and our boy Anthony playing Atlo. Wahoo.
Yeah, so we're gonna start seeing a fall off from Overlord now that free rent is legal, because I'm not joking you, this matchup's not winnable. It is not winnable. Your opponent has to eat the full shit in order to lose that matchup. It's not winnable. It's not. It doesn't mean that you can't play Overlord at tournaments, but you need to at least be aware and perhaps change the composition of your deck, especially if you're playing one of those Overlord builds that doesn't have level 1 combos. You will get absolutely dumpstered by Fern. Fern will put you directly in the dumpster, and that's a real problem. And not to doom speak any more than is necessary, but there's an upcoming set, you might have heard of it. It's got ship girls in it, or no, gun girls. Gun girls.
Yeah.
So they have a guy that says you can't take axe, and I gotta be real honest with you, that's bad. That's very bad.
Yeah, they can pay 2, and then you can't early play Eins.
Yeah, you just lose. Lose the game. And so I don't know what Overlord's gonna do going forward.
Oh, and if they have extra stock and they're playing like a control-y deck,
yeah,
they can also say no events.
Yeah.
On your turn.
Yeah.
So now you can't salvage and you can't early play Eins.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what Overlord is going to look like going forward in terms of participation and not just participation, but like appearance in the top 8, top 16. But it is worth acknowledging and being aware that there are some matchups out there that are really gnarly for that deck now. And it's not just Slime, which Slime kind of, Overlord players kind of figured out how to manage. But Fern is awful. Eno is pretty awful, and Nikkei is pretty awful. So those matchups are really, really challenging, and I would say not winnable under most circumstances. I would say they are 95-5 matchups, where if your opponent just sculpts the thing and shuts down your entire deck's concept, it becomes very hard to win.
You know, the funny thing is that, like, shout out to Steve Walt. He's even been cooking with different Eno variants, because as it turns out, I mean, the Eno's so good, like, why compromise your early game to get it out like maybe half a second earlier? We can just have an early game and then jam it at level 2.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Like Kai Eno is fine.
Nago Eno also possible.
I hate Nago, dude.
Yeah.
The deck has no deck speed, and you can't play Weiss Schwarz that way.
Operation Tornado, just a fake event card.
Bro, what are we gonna you're just gonna run that? We have no way to get it. Our way to get it is pray heavily.
You can grab it from clock.
Oh, great. If you need to play an event at level 1.
Yeah.
And you don't have the profile that's like on play, check up to 3, add an event, discard a card, don't count on it. Don't. The only reason Freerin can get away with it is because there's fucking 2 of them, and it's hard to not draw 8 different cards.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like, and they have a guy that's even better, where it's like on play, pitch a card, check 4, add any level 1 or higher card, including both events, which are both level 1. So very simple to add those events. Does Guilty Gear have any of that? No, they don't have any of that. They have On Death. They have On Death. On Death, as we well know, is not on play and never will be.
Yes.
So
this is true.
It's just run Kai. Just run Kai. It's got synergy. There's so much synergy. Well, look, this guy picks up level 2s from the grave. I wonder if I would need a level 2.
I mean, the trigger is piss useless, but yeah.
From the grave.
Yeah. Pants trigger is completely piss useless, but otherwise, yeah, it's pretty slick.
Yeah. I mean, when would you ever need climaxes?
It, adds the climax.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering correctly, we need to discard cards for the effect. And climaxes are cards. Last I checked, they're cards. I'm pretty sure they're cards. So if you don't need it, just flush that bad boy for the combo, right? I'm being reasonable here. It's not the best plus, but it's A plus.
All right. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's
anyway, TSK, please God, someone help me. I'm begging you, Bushiroad. Is this enough, Bushiroad? Is it enough yet? They've won every fucking event but one. Isn't it enough?
Speaking of that, it's time to get into the Refresh Point Awards.
Woo! Let's go.
We have so many qualified nominees tonight. All sorts of great. I did say players earlier. I don't think we have any player categories here. That's
probably
okay.
For the best.
That's probably for the best. Yeah. But tonight we have decks, sets, and cards all galore. They've come on down to the Refresh Point Awards to really see what they're made of.
Yeah.
Get their stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so for tonight's first award, there are many decks that stand the test of time. Weiss, after all, is played in a Neo standard format.
Yeah.
With decks theoretically being able to last for as long as they avoid the ban list. And with that being said, there is one deck this year for this first award, the deck that really should be illegal by now. And here are our nominees. We have up first, Slime. Right, yeah. And as well, Tensura. Right?
Yeah.
And our final nominee tonight, it's that time that I got reincarnated as a slime.
Yeah.
That's right. And the winner of the deck that really should be illegal by now, drum roll please, it's Slime! Whoa! Wow! That's insane!
Who could have predicted it?
That's crazy!
Even the slime merchants are on board now, guys. It's enough. It's enough. It's enough.
Carter, you heard Carter say it. Actually, I didn't lead up to it. Never mind. You can listen to Carter's interview right now and listen to him say it.
Yeah.
Roll the clip. All right, this is Ben. I'm here with Carter.
Yep.
Carter.
Yep.
You are. Did anybody else come with you from Cali?
Nope, I came alone.
You came alone.
Yeah.
All right.
Solely
Cali representative. What did you just do at Philadelphia?
I won Philadelphia BCS. The slime.
You did what? You did
What?
what?
You did what?
Oh my God!
This guy just won. And walk me through your list. We have Muron, we have Slime.
Yep.
Now then, paired with the Slime, I see 4 empty Pants Climaxes. Talk about it.
You don't need a combo with this deck. All you need is the 3 rolls Rimuru. Every other turn, you just pay 1 or something.
Yep.
You don't need stock from Muron. All you need is 3 stock from Muron. That's so easy.
Right.
And it gives 500 power.
Yeah.
It boosts your Milim to 4K, the runner.
Yeah.
Anything else, 500. The 6 Yom gets to 6,500. It can hold its own against some level 1s as well.
Right. Yeah, you're spitting. So, as well, finishing lineup, 1. That's 1 Milim with the Bonder. So, Bonder good. 3 Benny Maru, and no Xion for this list, which is kind of funny because you do have the yellow to play it anyways.
Yeah.
But so why no Xion at all?
So Slime's obvious weakness is the finishing power.
Right.
I put more into the consistency of the overall deck. So I try to stay at level 2 as long as possible.
Right.
That's why I have 2 of these pay 2 healers.
Potions, dude.
Yeah. So rest 2, rest, pay 2, heal.
Yeah.
Get your second copy. Do it again.
Lamau.
Get your helmet. Play over it. Do it again.
Do it again.
Get your other helmet. Do it again. And then
just
you
heal.
And then you combo again. You make back everything.
Yeah.
You stay at level 2 forever.
Yeah.
And then once they're like 3/3, finish them off with like Milim Loop or Benny Marus.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just like trying to stay at 2, like for real, for sure, instead of kind of like being able to have like any of the finishers to try to push with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a win more deck. I also have the grapple hook.
Right.
So
exactly.
it's
Yeah. That's definitely a win more mechanic. Yeah.
I've had some games where people were like had like 2 cards left in their hand at level 3. I'm like, you're playing against Slime. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, you're spitting, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, not for nothing because all of the slots are kind of built for like early game consistency ish. It's kind of like 4 Chaser, 2 Veldora available. We're just like get things going. There's not really slots here for Xion anyway. It's just kind of like it wouldn't work. Yeah, spitting. So, you have anything else you want to say about Slime?
I hope it gets hit. I hate seeing this everywhere. I've played 3 mirrors today and they're all standby. Hey, 8 pants away.
Actually, so one more thing. So you played 3 mirrors into standby?
Yes,
Slime?
all standby.
Okay, so like, what do you think about the mirror into standby in general?
It's definitely hard. Slime's hardest matchup is against big bodies, and then if you're playing against a standby variant, you're gonna get like two Shuna back rows maybe, and then they're gonna have a way easier time building a board, and you're just crashing. But I just got lucky, honestly. I've had 2 games where my opponent refreshed 4 twice.
Holy,
so
dude.
I'm holding every climax. I'm just slamming.
Slam.
Every turn.
I mean, you have 8 pants. You got to slam.
Yeah, exactly. That's also another advantage to the 8 pants. You're pushing damage every single turn.
True.
I've seen the Twin Drive Rimuru, Twin Drive for just 1.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, Carter. Is there anything else you'd like to say? This is going on the refresh point. This will be extremely funny. Is there anything else you would like to say about your win today?
I hate playing Slime. Please hit it.
You're so right, Bessie. All right. See, even Carter wants it bad. He just won with it.
Yeah, here's the thing. They won't stop playing it, guys. They'll say that it's broken. They'll say they want it banned. But until you actually do it, here's the deal. They're just going to keep winning with it. Please, I'm begging you. It's been 2 years. Isn't it enough? Isn't it enough? It got 3 of the top 8 spots at Worlds last year. Isn't it enough? Does Bushiroad, does the president of Bushiroad is he a slime fan? Is that what it is? Is this guy a slime merchant? Is that what's happening?
They'll only ban it after they announce the next season.
Whatever changes up the mix, dude. Whatever gets me, rolls the dice a little bit and gets us another deck. Like, I cannot take one more competitive season of pants, whatever, shoot myself, no finisher slime. Like, I just can't. I can't, man. Like, I just want anything else. Can we please?
Congratulations, Slime and all Slime players, for winning almost everything. You really should be illegal by now. And you can take that award home and you can choke on it.
The next conference is in January.
We'll see.
Cut the head off of whatever chicken and it's whatever profane sacrifice you've used to keep it alive. Now it's time for the next one.
Next up tonight is it's an award that sadly only has one nominee. It was common cadence for many years that we would have a whole 2 English originals in a year.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
We had unique properties at times.
Yeah,
Mob
we
Psycho
felt special.
Mob Psycho was weirdly an English original, even though it was a relatively popular anime.
Same thing with Guilty Gear.
And Guilty Gear Strive is a relatively popular fighting game across the whole world, and
absolutely in Japan,
especially played in Japan. But we liked it. It was fun.
We loved it.
And this year, however, there was only one. So the winner this year of the only English original, it's Ruby. Congratulations, Ruby.
You know what? A really good set too.
It's a really sick set, yeah.
Like,
and for a premium booster that makes you want to die if you tried to split it with somebody.
Yeah,
great set.
Yeah, whatever Bushiroad needs to do to change that up and make those configurations less awful, let's do that. But my only beef with Ruby is when you have premium boosters, a lot of times what ends up happening is you get this weird lack of build diversity because there's just not enough cards. And so Shauna kind of suffers from this too, where basically there's one good end game and 2 good early games, and you just kind of, however those Lego pieces fit together in your brain best, that's the ones you use. And so Ruby's kind of that way too. It's like we have this end game, really solid. We gave it more synergy than it had before, even better. Great. We're definitely playing that. Okay, now what do we do with the rest of the deck? And it's like we got like 2 or 3 good choices. Figure out one of those.
Even John, the homie John, even figured it out yet. Maybe just play a different finisher too. Like there's enough good cards now where you can if you're a good player, you can freestyle a little bit.
Yeah, I think
just a little bit.
Yeah,
because like real stock swap on an Icy Tail, which is incredibly funny. Pyrrha, incredibly funny combo. We've got a lot of funny tools to mess around with.
Yeah, I think that it's similar to Hololive where it's like a lot of people will experiment with the top end, but then they end up running Marine because they're just like, of course I am. Why wouldn't you? Look how good it is. And so Ruby's kind of that way too, where it's like you can experiment with some of the other top ends, but eventually you'll just be like, why am I not rerunning the Ruby and then burning one and then restanding? Like, why am I not doing that? That seems very, very good. So
now that pants line that he had at the end, that felt pretty legit. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
No, dude.
All right.
It was pretty sick. As it turns out, most people in the universe, they forgot what Pyrrha did.
Yeah, that's a type of, some mistakes are worse than others.
Yeah. And so when you forget what Pyrrha does,
yeah.
Hestia, but on a finisher that spawns itself. Pretty good guillotine.
Oh yeah,
on average.
It's super, yeah, it's super tough. You basically get the decomp 5 guaranteed, and so that's tough.
Yeah. Next up, Steve, would you like to introduce this next one?
That'd be great. So, English promos are sometimes a rough gig.
Yeah.
You have to attend locals that may be far away or simply don't exist in your area. And a lot of times they can be underprinted and undersold. So when Bushiroad decides to put an extremely powerful effect on a promo, it can be very difficult for the player base. So with this in mind, for most painful English promo of the year, here are our nominees. We have the Bridget Free Fresh counter from 8-Hit Wonder, which was earlier this year. So this counter does not exist in the base set there's no replacement for this card. The only way to get it was to have a combination of both 8 locals inside of a few months, which, to be fair, is not super demanding, but it's certainly
for some people.
It's not easy. And then on top of that, you needed to attend a regional, and on top of that, you needed to make sure that you exchanged it at the regional. So the quantity of this card is challenging. If you look for it on TCG Player, you will probably find that it's weirdly $100. So that's wrong.
Yeah.
Second one, the 13th anniversary door climax that they did for this year's BCS championship. They literally did not inform any players that this card existed and that you needed to exchange it at the regional. The only reason I knew is because of Chainfire and because he was looking for it. I was like, okay, sick. How do you get it? And he's like, oh, you exchange it at the regional. How did I not know that? Why is that not common information that is available somewhere for me to know? Who knows?
They had a little announcement.
Yeah. Very little. And then finally, the Yukina free play promo for Bang Dream. So the MyGo trial deck, which came out with the most recent Bang Dream set, contained 12 promos that were released in various ways in Japan. They just kind of bundled them all up and jammed them into this trial deck. And did they jam all of them into the trial deck? Of course not. They jammed one into the trial deck. So, if you were really lucky and you bought MyGo trial decks, you might end up with this card that free casts your level 3 from your hand by just sending it to the waiting room. By far, one of the best free cast profiles that exists in Weiss Schwarz at this time. So, and the finisher is like the mission critical finisher for the anniversary deck, which is probably the most popular deck to play for Bang Dream. So, of course, this promo is $30. That's just how it is. And thanks, Bushiroad, for making it a 1 in 12 dice roll.
Epic. For tonight's winner of the most painful English promo of the year, I think we have to give it to Bridget.
We do.
It's incredibly painful. It's a character that she herself is not in the base set.
No.
Because she was DLC, very popular DLC, after the main game was made. And so all of the art was based on characters that were in the story mode for the most part, and the rest of the base roster. And Bridget famously was not part of either of those things.
Yeah.
And it's a refresh counter, which for a deck that might not have a lot of deck speed at times, depending on your configuration, is incredibly good. It was the 8-Hit Wonder promo. God bless.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Yeah.
And shout out to all the homies in Europe, and especially Avis, who is like the Eno merchant now, because there was just not access to 8 locals of the English variety because JP Bushinavi locals did not count.
Yep.
It had to be English locals specifically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
that sucked.
That sucks.
Congratulations, Bridget. We'd give you an award, but we can't find you anywhere. So it's
Unlucky.
Unlucky. Next up, many sets have players that are dedicated to an extreme degree. And as a review player, I understand how people feel when they try to push their set to the limit. And to honor their efforts, we'll be awarding a set tonight as the set with the strongest soldiers. Now, our nominees tonight, very obvious, you're on this podcast. Review is one of them. I'm literally sitting right here. HoloLive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because even through arguably power creep out, like that kind of puts it not in the very top tier, but like playable, it has been consistently played to any viable variation, to every single regional.
Yeah.
And it has topped every time.
If you look at the breakdown of participation for every regional, I mean, HoloLive's going to be top 1, top 2. That's just how it is.
Yeah. And finally, Avatar, The Last Airbender, who has to win, actually, because their soldiers were so strong that they got it banned.
Yeah.
They found Sokka, and they went off to the races.
Yeah, it's actually crazy that... And you know what? After I went back during the year and I listened to a whole bunch of old Refresh Point episodes because nostalgia is important to me. And I think that Ben and I have come a really long way in the podcast. But one of the things that stood out to me very early on in the Refresh Point was Steve from Toronto. You're him, dude. You're him. You're the guy. And when people think about why this set became what it was, you did it. It was you. You were the first one to go that had participation at a tournament and results to expose this god-awful shit, and you started a thing, and it started to be everywhere. So, of all the strongest soldiers that Atla has, you have to be one of the strongest. So, yeah. To all the people who jammed that deck, to all the people that did the math to figure out the most god-awful lines imaginable to kill people from like 1-4, yep. Congrats. You guys did it. Hats off.
You were so good, it's fucking gone.
Yeah.
But not forgotten, which is our next award. The deck that is the most gone, but not forgotten.
Right.
Sokka, Avatar Sokka is one of our nominees. For these decks that existed at some point this year and were banished promptly to the Shadow Realm, thanks to the slow continuance of the English ban list. These decks will not be missed by most, or at least by some, but we will not forget them, for they left a lasting impression on the memories of many who died by their hand. With that in mind, the other nominees for the decks that are gone but not forgotten: Chainsaw Man, Full Power Aki. We literally did the math on how terrible it was. And our final nominee, Gargura, completely unrestricted. She killed many. In fact, this guy won a fucking championship off of it.
Yeah. I mean, I miss Gargura. Guys, I miss Gargura.
And so, with our bias on this podcast, the deck that is gone but not forgotten is Full Power Gargura.
Full Power Gargura, man. Like, I think, especially me, I'll own this. I was completely wrong about the nature of Gargura when it was revealed, because I assumed that there was like a normal way to play Weiss Schwarz that would involve being reasonable and playing the game reasonably and building a deck that looked reasonable on paper. But I was completely wrong. And it turns out this was kind of the tipping point of a lot of really devastating finishers being added to the game, where reasonableness was at an all-time low in 2023. There was no reason to play the game right. We were playing like absolute lunatics because there was so much damage that it it just worked. And Aki kind of continued it, where it was just like, I know that you're at 2-1 or whatever, but I'm gonna send it because if you're not in good deck state, you'll just die. And yeah, I mean, Aki spawned an entire like GitHub worth of code for us to figure out how bad it was. And spoiler alert, it was bad. It's real bad.
Yeah. And, you know, with all of that unreasonableness, they're actually, and we're going to discuss this actually between ourselves right here. There are a few balance sets released this year.
Yeah.
And so, with the mix of underwhelming and overpowering sets, it can really feel like that a set that's actually balanced, a little bit difficult to find. Something that's good to play, but not overpowering. Something with enough utilities to exist in the modern era of Weiss Schwarz, but not unfair feeling when you lose to them. And so, we're gonna look at, right now, between the two of us, some sets that were pretty balanced.
Yeah.
All things considered. First up, we have Frieren. You know, lots of good stuff, but, you know, like lots of events, you know, the event deck that works very well together, but at the same time, a finisher that's not overpowering.
Yeah, I think we get it definitely gives Danmachi vibes because
Right, you have Torch.
we're a lot of the same feelings where it's like really solid event package, really solid back row, questionable finishing, and like good stuff all around you along with the pants trigger.
And it's a little bit, you could argue that of these three, it could lean a little bit stronger just because of like the pure synergies that are kind of within the deck.
Yeah.
Lots of really good deck milling, lots of really good control.
Yeah.
You know, just a very straightforward approach. Either if you build the event deck or if you build some of the funny decks, right?
Yeah.
You know, 8 choice. You can do, you know, funny 16 choice trigger deck. You can also do the hero Himmel leading up to the hero. Leading up to the Himmel finisher. You can do 8 standby and just slam all those Starks in there and just, you know, have a board forever.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like, and it's all pretty chill.
Yeah, I think that when you have what makes Frieren nice is that if you're not new to Weiss Schwarz, Frieren has a density of plays that can be very satisfying if you're good at the game, because you will be presented with a myriad of options every turn. And how much and how little you take advantage of those options is part of what makes a skilled pilot for that deck. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Next up, previously mentioned, it's Ruby. Ruby, lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, from set 1, you know, we get to keep Stock Swap and Icy Tail on the same card. We got, you know, new finishing power, you know, new supplements to the previous Choice 1 combo, a new 2/2 standby to play with. But overall, like, pretty straightforward still. You know, you can get got by Pyrrha still, as we've mentioned. But on the whole, the boards do not tend to be overpowering. And the finishing is very good, to be fair. But it's not guaranteed. You're not just gonna have it. It doesn't have the very best reach, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to like. Broken? I wouldn't say so.
No, I don't think anyone would. It's a completely solid deck, has good matchups, has some really ugly matchups. Overall, I like when premium boosters augment the base set in a way to create value out of cards that you already own and add value to things that were slightly underpowered to bring them up to where they need to be. And I think that premium booster really accomplished that well.
It's a really excellent usage of a premium booster.
For sure.
And finally today, we're gonna look at it. Bochu the Rock,
Yeah.
which, you know, it does have Itsuki combo. and it does have Marine at home. But at the same time, it's very upfront with what it's gonna do to you, right? And in a sense, it's one of those vanilla, in general, like Weiss decks that you could pilot to regional and conceivably win with.
Yeah, what this of all the decks that we've talked about so far, this is my favorite one that I don't own. Because I like Bocchi the Rock for the exact opposite reason that I like Freerin. Bocchi the Rock is the deck you should give to somebody who is new to Weiss Schwarz. Because Bocchi the Rock is the type of deck that has a consistent game plan and is very forgiving. There are lots of good answers in Bocchi the Rock to most of the decks in the game, and you will have more hand than you would normally have, but don't need it. Itsuki creates a demand on your hand by having finishers that need to discard like 1 billion cards. So the hand size and the nature of the combo is not optional. It's like you gotta have it, and it's gotta work. With Bocchi, you can take the game at a much more, a less like frantic sort of desire early. You can play it casually. You'll always have more resources than you need. You have lots and lots of good tools. The biggest struggle for that set is refreshing at the right time. So that becomes like the skill point for pilots that run Bocchi the Rock. It's like refreshing at the point where you can leverage the early play, leverage the tribute mechanic so that you can beat your opponent up a little bit on the board and keep your HP pretty high. Into ostensibly a less good Marine, a little more vulnerable to counterplay than Marine, but still a very serviceable finisher. Probably gets the job done in most game states.
You still have some stock decomp. Both Freerin and Bocchi the Rock get stock shovel, which is not stock swap, but it is at least something.
Yeah, it's better. It's better than nothing, man.
Better than nothing, man. Better than nothing. And so, what do we think?
I think for me, it's Bocchi.
You think so?
I really like that set in terms of like, this is what it does. It doesn't do very much different than this. It's play a combo, heal it 2, finish it 3, which is a kind of a classic Weiss Schwarz formula that's been going on since like 2016. So yeah,
and you know what? We're on a one-track mind. I think the most balanced set this year that got released, I think it was Bocchi.
Yeah, for sure.
Bocchi the Rock. And going from balance to flavor, we still got a few flavorful sets.
Yeah.
You know, Weiss can feel like a game where the flavor is sometimes forgotten, but other times sets can be so flavorful, so overpowering with flavor that it drives the key mechanics of the deck. And so this year's nominees for the most flavorful set of the year, we've got a few. JoJo's.
Yeah.
Bizarre Adventure. So much flavor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In Stardust Crusaders and Stone Ocean.
Yeah, I mean, you've got not just the flavor from the original set, had like the changers that like go back.
I mean,
and
we
forth
still have the stand mechanic.
Yeah. And on top of all that, right? We've got the Dio.
Dio, dude.
The
I love Dio.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
And like there's tons.
Made in Heaven.
Yeah, of course.
Made in Heaven finisher,
And there's just
the Jotaro finisher.
Yes. So if it's one of those things where I don't know a lot about JoJo, but everybody knows Aura. Everybody knows that. So. I'm a huge fan. I like
the Soul games. Did you see the Soul game cards?
No.
There's a group of characters in part 3 that play a game for your soul.
Oh, okay.
And so they printed cards for those characters where you play a game for your soul.
Huh.
And so there's like a benefit if you win and there's a detriment if you lose and so on and so forth. It's very flavorful, very funny.
Nice.
And there's a lot of that in a lot of the JoJo's cards. It's a very strong set for flavor. Next up, Spy.
Yeah.
Spy Family had a good amount of flavor.
For sure. You have you've got the change mechanic where we change between our spy form and our regular form. We've got the vent where, we can take all the family and they work together as one unit. And you've got Anya's, her telepathic ability.
Yeah.
And like she gets the events, she gets the, she can just fish stuff. So, yeah.
She can read your mind. That's why her finisher's a mocha.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
She can read your mind. That's why her finisher is a mocha.
Yeah.
Yor is just a straight assassin that will kill you.
Yep.
So her finisher's burn 4.
Yeah.
And Lloyd, he's a very tricksy individual, so he gets burn and then on cancel burn.
Right. So he gets the both, best of both, right?
Yeah,
the balance finisher. Right?
The balance. Yeah. There's a lot of funny flavors, a lot of good stuff going on. Another one that comes to mind, and these are obviously slightly balanced because we only know so much about everything. CSM, besides Aki, and I mean even Aki's finisher is pretty good flavor.
Yeah, for sure.
The Easy Revenge cigarettes event powering both Aki and Himeno finishers. The Nut Kick finisher. The Nut Kick finisher, dude. We love the Nut Kick finisher.
Yeah.
Future Devil.
Yeah, the Future Devil.
Seeds of the future.
And he joins with Aki, right?
Yeah,
so,
he joins with Aki, and then you see into the future.
Right, exactly. And so we've also got the sacrifice mechanic for Pochita to put out.
Pochita to bring out the Chainsaw Man.
Yes.
There's 2 of those mechanics even, because there's the trial deck one.
Right.
That changes into the Icy Tail Check 3.
Yeah.
And then there's the booster pack one, where you change the Brainstormer, and then you get to the choice finisher.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so, yeah, lots of good stuff there, for sure.
Lots of great stuff, but, I mean, in this case, first is best. It's JoJo's.
Yeah, I think I agree.
It's both Stone Ocean and Stardust Crusaders. We'll give them both. They're the same area.
For sure. They were released at the same time. It's basically the same set.
JoJo's flavor is just so strong, and they really leaned into it, and it's so funny.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that set's a little bit slept on.
For sure.
Like in the competitive scene. But
very winnable.
But absolutely it has a lot to offer from the flavor scene, of course. And there's a lot, and Weiss has got a ton of flavor in it. Don't let anybody sell you different. That's the name of the game a lot of the times. The way the characters interact, the way they behave on the stage, that almost always harkens back to something about the show, or game.
Absolutely. And speaking of flavor, I mean, a lot of these flavors lead to some very funny decks.
Yeah.
And in Top Cuts this year, in both Springfest and BCS, we got a lot of fucking funny Top Cuts.
I agree.
There were a lot of decks where you looked at it and you were like, what in the goddamn? Like you're some guy in a casino in the post-apocalyptic Las Vegas. I wouldn't know. But right now, we're going to give this award to the funniest Top Cut deck, where we most looked at it and we were like, well, like I said, what in the goddamn?
Yeah.
First up, this hit personally in my heart. The guy that took stock Soul Pants Batman Ninja to Bulgaria in this year's 9-person Springfest event. God bless you, dude. What a gamer.
Weiss is a game you play with your heart and not your head. I've said it many times, and
absolutely.
I mean, maybe you just wanted to Dark Knight somebody, man. I'm not mad at you.
And I mean,
go get him.
Yeah, I mean, to hit at your heart a little bit too, there's the Fate Trios deck in the Philippines.
Yeah,
You remember that one?
I haven't gotten to the point where we were talking about it, but I certainly remember just being in absolute awe of everything that deck was trying to do.
Next up, it was surprising for people that weren't us, I'll say. People looked at it and they're like, what? And we were sitting here like, it's Jessica. She's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yuki Sinon Last Shot.
Yeah.
You can still die to burn 4 in the year of our Lord 2024. And she won't let you forget it.
Yeah, I mean, top 16 in 2024, with a deck that is definitely circa 2015, 2016. I mean, it's just I mean, we always say the same stuff on here. It's if the pilot's good and the idea is sound, I mean, a lot of stuff will work.
Turns out, a deck compression into explosive finishing, still good enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
They still have stock swap. They have some ways to scam stock throughout the game. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
they have money counter.
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely worthwhile endeavor, especially in a set that's so big. You can kind of look around and find the stuff that's going to work for you and kind of manipulate it towards the meta. So, yeah, absolutely.
And finally, to the funniest singles top. I think it's a clear winner.
Yeah.
It's the Olive Garden 8-bar spy deck.
Unbelievable deck. Just
when you're here, you're family.
Yeah, it's crazy how well that deck did.
He didn't even think it would do that well.
No,
either.
and
he was surprised too.
Honestly, we had one of our friends who used to live here. That was the very first deck that he built with Spy, was that 8-bar deck. And I remember playing against it and with it and being like, this thing feels like garbage, dude. Nothing works. Just nothing works right. And the only good part of it was the 2-1 combo. And I was like, this part's kind of sick, but the rest of it is kind of sick, like an illness, like it needs help. But I guess, like, if you just have the magic,
I suppose.
Yeah, get that thing, man. Congratulations.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Huge win.
Massive
win.
Yeah.
So that was the funniest Top Gun deck this year.
I absolutely agree. There's no way.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah. And of
just
course,
the
name,
planning,
the
name,
the way they leaned into it, for sure. Yeah.
You know, the way that he would lay it out.
Yeah.
And say the line. It's incredible.
Though I will say, if you're referencing a marketing campaign that old, you and I are probably around the same age. I don't know. Back's not working so good anymore, I'm guessing.
Come on.
Just throwing it out there.
Man. All right. And for the final award of the night, we have the set that was the most surprising. Because, there were a lot of sets that were shoo-ins to get announced.
For sure.
Like Oshinoko, Frieren, Mygo still. I mean, Big Dreams, Bushiroad's baby.
Yeah.
But some sets, they really came out of left field.
For sure.
How the fuck did they get here? And who are they? Well, this is who they are. Dengeki Bunko, which I think some people expected, but there were a good enough amount of people that are like, there's no way we get a Dengeki, Bunko set.
I said that in an episode, that there wasn't any way.
Yeah.
Yeah. In season 1, I for sure said that. When it came out in JP, I advised our listeners to buy it in JP if they wanted it, because I was like, ain't no way. And yet
they pulled it off. They got it. And funnily enough, leading off of Dengeki, Shauna.
Yeah, so
we got Shauna in Dengeki.
Yeah.
And then we got Shauna? Or no, we got Shauna first.
Yeah.
And then we got Dengeki.
Yeah. So getting Shauna was kind of strange because there was no reason to have it.
It's so old.
Yeah. And so when they were, there's the Shauna Premium Booster, I was like, okay, well, that's probably fine. But yeah, a little out of nowhere.
It's like we got Shauna.
And then we
got Dengeki.
Yeah.
So that we could have the full Shauna. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely great.
And I think, but once again, we're playing our hand a little bit. The last one here will be the winner, and I'll explain why. It's Macross fucking Delta.
Yeah.
The show that you cannot legally watch in the United States of America.
Yeah, I got nothing here. As much as I was like, ain't no way for Dengeki.
What the fuck?
I didn't even think about Macross Delta because I was like, that's literally impossible. I've never even heard of the show, much less.
Yeah, good reason. You literally can't watch it right now.
That's wild. That's wild.
You and I sitting here, we can't watch Macross Delta.
That's insane. How do they? What? Who's driving the bus on the licensing? What? What?
They can't. We can't watch it, but we can buy the cards.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Maybe Europe can watch it. I haven't done the legalese.
Yeah, I mean, comment down below if you have ever seen Macross Delta, even like casually walking by while somebody else was watching it. Because
Now comment below if it's legal for you to consume the fucking anime.
Yeah. Of course, obviously, on the high seas, sometimes things happen. But it definitely is insane to have a legally licensed English product of a thing that we can't actually watch. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
How did we get here?
I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm sure some back alley deal was made with Aniplex or whoever does the distribution for this stuff and was like, yeah, and we'll sling you Macross Delta. And they were like, you're spitting. But
I mean, it's so funny. We can finally have good Link.
yeah,
It's really funny.
yeah, I think when Bushiroad...
And what's even funnier is that if you just don't play the Link package, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, what's crazy about Link is that, much like every other mechanic that Bushiroad introduces to Weiss Schwarz, it's only introduced in two ways. Completely useless, and then they do better the next time. Or insanely overpowered, and they do better the next time. So, Link in Grisaya, awful. Like, not awful, but certainly not good. Despite all of our efforts. And
D4 DJ, I think, also had Link.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
I believe so. Also, not sure about the goodness. I have never seen a D4 DJ Link list. I think that's a good enough indicator.
Yeah, but the Macross one, insane. We kind of alluded to it earlier. It's a medium difficulty gamble deck. In my experience, admittedly, less than 20 games versus this deck, and no games playing it. They get it every time. I've never seen them not get it.
You are so biased, by the way, dude. No, I picked it up. I had like the honeymoon phase of 3 games where I was like, oh, I just get it every time.
Yeah.
And then 3 more games where I'm like, fuck. What do I do?
Yeah, I just didn't. Yeah, my experience is limited, but I've never seen them brick it.
It is so fucking possible to brick it, dude.
Because you need 2 of the events, right? That's the hard part.
Yeah, you need 2 of the events.
Right?
You need 2 of the events, and then if you want to do 2 events and the brainstorm in the same turn, you need 3 stock.
Yeah.
And then again, the events don't get you anything.
Right.
They go directly into your memory and then do nothing. So if your handy's dog shit, as it turns out, it's not viable to pay 2 to -2.
Yeah, I can see how it could brick. It's just it doesn't seem to happen when I face it. And then they establish the board, and then I can't reverse, and then they're just
I swear
looping
to God,
the bullshit.
You can't reverse the fight. It's a 3K 2-5 off turn.
No. After they get to 2 and they start doing the magic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
But not saying the deck's broken, far from it. I can see the brick potential. It just doesn't, I bring out the best in my opponents. That's my ability. That's my power in Weiss Schwarz. But, super fun deck is the takeaway for sure.
Yeah, it's an extremely fun deck. I will be, like, my deck box now is basically just going to be Review Starlight.
And a bunch of nonsense.
The Hero Himmel. Macross Delta. That's my deck box.
And JoJo. Where's the JoJo? I am expecting
There's only 3 slots.
I know. I'm expecting you to be the JoJo merchant.
Okay. The second box. The second box we have.
Yeah.
JoJo's. A funny Batman deck.
Yep.
And a second review deck.
I definitely cannot build any more Batman decks. So.
You sold that playset?
It's gone.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to all of our winners tonight. You know, some of you are very cool, some of you unexpected, and some of you need to get the fuck out already. There's the door. But that's gonna be our show for today. If you're wondering where the spy corner was, it was at the start. It was a very speed run. We wanted to do our awards tonight and then go on vacation. So we had it. It's okay. We went through literally all of the top cuts. That's our spy corner today.
Yeah.
And that's our show for today. So tune in next time after your next deck out. And don't you forget to take the refresh point.